Yes, Republicans for Bernie Sanders and AOC. Yeah, you can't make this up. They're gonna. They're gonna start driving around in little Priuses or riding donkeys and flying hammer and sickles soon. Maybe these Republicans will start dyeing their hair red or blue. I just want to go over the numbers, okay, before we get into the idiocy at hand. As it stands right now, the top 1% of taxpayers in the United States, top 1%, pay 40% of the bill. 40%. Top 1%. So let's put this into perspective, shall we? Okay? That would be one person out of 100 is paying 40% of the nation's income taxes. The top 5% is the 5 to 1% is paying 21% of the bill. From 5 to 10, that's 11%. From 10 to 25, 15%. From 50 to 25, 10%. The bottom 50 pay 3%. That sounds fair. And you want the reality is this has become so much more progressive over the years. It blows your mind. Okay. It was in 2001, the top 1% paid 33.2%. So don't tell me about our tax code. Our tax code has become more and more progressive. That's the reality. More and more progressive, not less. Not less. Anyway, so now you got the White House. White House and certain people in Congress are now floating the idea of a tax hike. They want a tax hike on high earners, the 1%ers. White House aides are pushing a proposal within the House GOP that would raise the tax rate for people making more than $1 million to 40%. Some are saying that they're going to keep it at the same level that they have now, but again, they want to use this to help pay for the costs on eliminating taxes on overtime pay, tip wages, and retirees' Social Security. They're basically running this by congressional Republicans as we see fit right now. What top rate right now is 37% on those making single people making $609,351. $731,000 for married couples. Again, yeah, this is a possibility. This is a possibility. They're saying, well, before the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, the tax bracket was 39.6. If we can't find spending reductions, we're going to restore a higher bracket. We're going to even bring it down to 609, or maybe we'll make it 2 million. Yeah. Remember George H.W. Bush, read my lips, no new taxes. Yeah, that worked out real well from him. I mean, the bloody guy won a war, for crying out loud, against Iraq. Unnecessary, in my opinion, but he won a war. Remember Norman Schwarzkopf? Remember? Shock and awe. War televised, TV, bombs everywhere. And he lost. He lost to the former governor of Arkansas. That would be Bill Clinton. Yeah. We're not done. We're not done with those Republicans who heart Bernie Sanders and AOC. Republican Senator Jim Banks just introduced a bill. It says it's aimed at providing tax relief for working American families and pregnant mothers. Now, again, whenever they use the word working American families, I get really pissed off. I can't help it. Again, it's a buzzword. It's a buzzword, to get people think that, it's the crowd carrying a brown paper bag to work and, blue collar workers working. Again, I respect, I've done all of those jobs, many of those jobs in my life, and I get it, but everyone is working. Okay. In some way, shape, matter, or form, you're out there, you're working. This Family First Act is going to increase the child tax credit to $4,200 for families with a child ages 0 to 5, $3,000 for families with a child between 6 to 17, and would allow families to claim the credit for up to 6 children annually. The legislation would also establish a new $2,800 tax credit for pregnant mothers. Congress needs to do everything we can to help parents give their kids a shot at the American dream. My bill cuts taxes, ends marriage penalties, streamlines benefits to support strong working families. I guess the bill would require families to earn at least $20,000 to receive the full CTC amount, or at least $10,000 for the full credit during pregnancy. And it would require that the claimed child has to have a Social Security number. Again, I don't get it. Quite frankly, I really don't. I raised 3 kids, and it was a lot of work, and it was struggle, and it was sacrifice that it was involved. But if you're going to decide to have kids based upon a freaking tax credit, something's wrong here. Kids are expensive. I get that. Kids are not cheap. I just, for the life of me, I don't understand. I don't understand why you're forcing other people to subsidize someone else's kids. I can't get my arms around that. Also, not to mention the fact, like $4,200 per kid ages 0 to 5. Kids are a hell of a lot cheaper when they're 0 to 5 than when they are playing travel sports and older. And they're a lot more expensive at that point in time. Again, I'm still trying to get my arms around this. Republican Party, I just don't recognize, quite frankly. I don't. And many of them don't want to have any sort of Medicaid reform. Now you got Republicans wanting to raise taxes. Now you want Republicans wanting all sorts of, handouts and giveaways here that make no sense whatsoever. And I'm not for handouts and giveaways. I'm not for carve-outs or anything like this. This is nonsensical. This just complicates the tax code to an even greater degree. Let's just saying, we're supposed to be equal under the law here in the United States. We're supposed to be equal under the law, and we're just not. We're not equal under the law. You pick and choose winners and losers. You pick and choose certain companies. Now you're picking and choosing certain people. And, quite frankly, it's wrong. WatchDog on WallStreet.com.